I fish alone. Always have. It's not that I don't like people, I just don't need them with me when I'm out there. It's different on the water. Quiet. Honest. You don't need to explain yourself to the ocean. You drop your line, wait, and take what it gives you. That morning was like any other. I loaded up my old center console, brought enough fuel, bait, water, clear skies, barely a breeze. I radioed in my heading to the dock like always. I told them I'd be out for a night or two, maybe 3 if the fish were biting. I cut the engine maybe 15 miles offshore, far enough that the coastline was a vague suggestion behind me. Just a thin brushstroke of land against the blue. That's where I like it. And for the first day, everything was fine. The fish were biting just enough to keep it interesting. I played some music through the boat's little speaker, made myself a sandwich, and watched the sun melt into the water like it always does, like it's done for every man who's ever sat alone in the middle of the sea. When it got dark, I killed the lights and let the stars take over. It's something else, seeing the sky out there, without the light pollution. It's like someone spilled a bag of diamonds across black velvet. I slept on the bench with a blanket over me, rocked to sleep by the water. All in all, a perfect day. Then came the second one. It started with a pull on the line, harder than anything I'd felt in years. I reeled for what must have been 20 minutes. Whatever was on the other end fought like it knew it was being hunted. When it finally broke the surface, I saw it. It wasn't big. In fact, it was smaller than most I'd caught. No more than 2 feet long maybe. Pale, almost translucent. Its scales shimmered, not silver, but something deeper. Blue that looked black, like oil on wet pavement. Its eyes were glassy, oversized. The mouth, wider than it should have been. And then it spoke. Not in words at first, not really. Just noise, clicks, chirps, then something that sounded like my name, garbled, like it was pushing human sounds through something not built to make them. Tom! I dropped the pole. The fish flopped at my feet, mouth opening and closing rhythmically. It was looking at me, not like an animal, like a person. I laughed, nervously, assuming exhaustion, maybe sunstroke. I splashed water on my face, steadied my breath. Then it spoke again, this time clearer. You're not going home. I killed the engine that night, not out of habit, but because I didn't want to hear it. The fish. I had locked it in the storage cooler, shut tight. But even sealed up, I swear I could hear it. Muffled words, wet clicks. It kept saying the same thing. You're not going home. I hadn't turned the boat since the catch. I told myself I'd head back in the morning, that I was just rattled. Probably dehydration, maybe a fever. I hadn't eaten much. But when I tried to navigate back toward shore the next morning, I couldn't find it. I checked my GPS. Broken, static screen. The compass spun like it was dizzy. The sun had risen, but it looked wrong. Too high, too cold. And the shoreline was gone. I turned the engine in every direction for hours, throttling and swearing and praying. But the ocean never changed, just flat, calm water and sky that felt like it was leaning in too close. When I stopped to rest, the fish whispered again. We're getting closer. I smashed the cooler open with a wrench. It wasn't there. No blood, no slime, just the empty space where I know I had put it. I stopped sleeping after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw shapes in the water beneath the boat. Slender silhouettes just under the surface, moving like they had a purpose. Sometimes they whispered in unison. I started seeing things on the deck too. Wet footprints, small ones, not mine. When I checked the bait locker, I found the fish again, just sitting there. Its eyes didn't blink. Why won't you eat? It said. I tried the radio. No signal, just static, like it was underwater. The sun didn't rise that morning. The sky just lightened into a gray that never brightened. Time lost its grip. My watch stopped ticking. But I kept hearing it. I started talking to the fish, not because I believed it, but because it was the only thing that answered. "You're not real," I told it. "I'm the only thing that is," it replied. When I threw it back in the water, I watched it sink, and then saw it swim back to the boat and climb aboard. No splashing, no sound, just back, sitting in the same spot like it never left. I think I passed out. Might have been minutes, might have been days. When I came to, I was on the bench, wrapped in the blanket but soaking wet. My clothes were damp and sticky. My tongue felt dry as driftwood. There were dozens of fish now, all of them small, all of them pale with wide mouths and black oil eyes. They sat in rows, lined up across the deck like they were listening to a sermon, and they were all smiling. I screamed and threw them overboard one by one, but each time I turned back there were more, and the one that talked was still there. "You're not going home, Tom. This is home now. I don't know how many days it's been. I don't even know if this is still Earth. The boat floats, the water's calm, and the sky above me is a sheet of pale gray that never moves. I've eaten nothing. I've drunk only the rain. I tried diving once, hoping maybe I could swim to whatever else is out there. But the water stretched into black nothing. No light, no bottom, no change in pressure, just cold. The fish still talks. Sometimes it sings. The tune sounds like my mother used to hum when I was sick, only lower, off. I don't scream anymore. I don't cry. Because sometimes, when I'm drifting, I think I hear another engine, another boat maybe, but it never gets closer. It just fades away. And I start to wonder if someone else caught one of them too. I think I understand now. The fish weren't caught. They chose me. I've explored all kinds of decaying places for the channel. Hospitals, hotels, factories half swallowed by trees. But this place, this was different. Not just creepy. Wrong. It was an abandoned aquarium, shut down in 2003. Official cause, bankruptcy. Unofficial whispers, animal cruelty lawsuits, government cover-ups. Secret experiments, internet rumors always go there. Of course, that just made it perfect for the video. I brought my usual crew, Carter, my best friend and the one who pushes me into most of these places, and Theo, the cautious one, ex-photographer, now our drone operator. He's the reason we still have footage from most of these trips. But not this one. We parked a mile out and hiked in through overgrowth. The building looked like a sunken ship rising out of the woods, all algae-streaked glass and collapsed roof beams. The front doors were sealed with rusted chains, but Carter found an access hatch by the sea lion tanks, half buried under vines. Inside, it was dead quiet. Our boots crunched over broken glass and old leaf litter. The air stank, mold, stagnant water, and something else under it, like something pickled. Theo didn't say much. He never does when the lights go off and the cameras turn on. That's when he gets the look. Tight shoulders, jaw clenched, eyes always flicking toward the nearest exit. We moved through the exhibits, shattered tanks, collapsed walkways, a rotted-out tunnel that used to let people walk under the ocean. Fish murals peeled like skin from the walls. Water damage warped the ceiling tiles, some of which had caved in completely. But about 30 minutes in, behind a cracked jellyfish display, we found something weird, a doorway marked staff only. The hinges were snapped like they'd been forced. Beyond it, a steep staircase descending into darkness. "Anyone else getting cold?" Carter asked. Theo didn't answer. He was staring down the stairwell, drone remote clutched tight in his hands. I turned on my body cam and nodded. "Let's check it out." We descended. The staircase went down farther than any aquarium basement should go. 4, maybe 5 flights. The air turned cooler and damper with each step. Concrete gave way to smooth stone walls. No signage, no maintenance stickers, just blank wet rock. When we hit bottom, the air changed. It smelled like rusted coins and stagnant seawater. The corridor stretched out ahead, lit only by our flashlights. It was narrow, maybe shoulder width, and the walls were sweating. Pipes ran along the ceiling, some leaking. The sound of dripping water echoed in every direction. After 10 minutes of walking, we found the tanks. 6 massive, reinforced glass cylinders, half filled with murky water. The contents were hard to see at first, just vague, floating shapes. But as we got closer, the beams of our lights made them clearer. That's when the unease really started. The first tank held what looked like a bloated grouper, except it had arms, not fins. Human arms, distorted and too long, ending in thick, curled fingers. Its skin had stitches, not scales, stitches. Another tank contained something that might have once been an eel, but its eyes were human, glassy and wide open, mouth permanently stretched into something that looked like a scream. "Oh God," I whispered. Carter was filming, hands trembling slightly. "These aren't props." "Who would build this?" Theo said. "Who funded this? It's not even scientific. It's like something out of a fever dream." Then he stopped mid-sentence, stared into the final tank. "Oh God." Inside floated something curled in a fetal position. Pale limbs, half human, half ray. The torso was unmistakably human, female, but the lower half was cartilage and tail, stitched together with medical precision. No one said anything for a full minute. That's when we heard it, a soft splash, echoing from deeper down the corridor. Then another, closer. Carter broke the silence. "We need to go." "No," Theo whispered. "We need to run." We turned back fast, retracing our steps, but the corridor didn't look the same. It had branches now, tunnels we hadn't passed before. No chalk marks, no drone signals. The GPS readout glitched into nonsense. Theo kept glancing over his shoulder. Then my flashlight flickered, just once, then again. Carter cursed. Battery was full an hour ago. Theo checked his drone controller. "This thing's bricked, I'm telling you. Something's screwing with our tech down here." We picked a tunnel and kept moving. The walls looked tighter now, closer. The air felt heavy, like we were walking deeper underwater. We passed another tank. This one smashed open. Water trailed into the hall in thin streams. There were marks on the floor. Drag marks. Something had left the tank. Theo stopped walking. "Do you hear that?" I listened. Wet dragging, maybe 20 feet behind us. Then another noise, higher pitched, almost breathy, a ragged gurgling sound. Theo's voice was sharp. "We're not alone. We need to go, right now." Carter spun around. "Which way? We're lost." Theo pointed. "Left. Always turn left in a maze." "Dude, that's not a real rule." "It's all we've got." We turned left, then left again. The tunnels wound tighter. Our beams dimmed to flickers. The air was choking now, thick with rot and salt. Then my light died. Pitch black. I froze. Heard Carter curse somewhere ahead. Theo called back, panic breaking through. "Everyone stop! Don't move!" I didn't. I just breathed, straining to hear. Something was behind us. I could hear the wet footfalls, deliberate, unhurried. Then, a whisper, barely audible, not speech, just breath. I switched on the backup LED from my rig. It barely cut through the dark, but it was enough. "Move," I shouted. We ran again, blind turns, water up to our ankles, slipping on algae-covered floors. One of us fell, Carter, I think, but he scrambled up fast. The dragging sound was closer now. Whatever it was, it didn't seem to tire. Then a miracle. Up ahead, a faint glow. We stumbled toward it, breath ragged, legs shaking. The stairwell. We hit it at full sprint, scrambling up, slamming into walls. I don't remember how long we climbed. I only remember the moment we hit the top. Daylight streaming in through a broken window. The air felt real again. We didn't speak, just kept running out the door, across the overgrown lot, back to the road. We didn't stop until we saw our car. Outside, covered in mud and sweat, we took inventory. Theo had lost his drone remote. Carter had dropped his camera in the corridor with the tanks. And me? My chest rig was ripped clean off at some point while running. Every shred of footage was gone. No proof, no views, just trauma. As we drove away, I looked back once. The aquarium sat silent behind the trees, slowly crumbling back into the earth. But that smell, that chemical seawater smell, clung to my hoodie for days. We haven't spoken much since. Carter barely leaves his apartment. Theo's drone channel hasn't updated in weeks. As for me, I haven't uploaded since. But sometimes at night I swear I still hear the shk, shk, shk of something dragging itself down a tunnel. And I keep wondering, who built that place? And what's still living in it? I live near the sea, in a quiet coastal town where the waves do more talking than the people do. I moved here 5 years ago, after a career and a life I didn't want anymore. You see, I never liked noise, too many voices, too much busyness. But here, things are simple, quiet. I live in a weather-beaten cottage about a quarter-mile from the shoreline. My days pass without much difference. Coffee in the morning, a walk down to the beach, and then I sit, just sit, on a cracked old bench facing the surf where the wind tastes of salt and forgotten things. For years, nothing changed. I watched the tide come and go like the rhythm of a sleeping giant. I'd bring my notebook, write a little, sometimes just stare. Then, on a Wednesday in late October, when the sea was silver and the sky bruised, I heard a voice. It was faint, so faint I thought it was the wind at first, but it wasn't. It was singing. At first I laughed, thought I was imagining things. I even looked around, maybe a hiker on the bluff or some teenager playing music too loud. But the beach was empty, and the sound didn't come from the cliffs. It came from the water. A low, melodic hum. Beautiful, yes, but not in any human way. It curled through the air like smoke, too smooth, too perfect to belong to a person. It didn't have words, but it spoke to something in me all the same. I stayed until the sun dipped low, waiting to hear it again, but it didn't return. That night I couldn't sleep. The sound played on a loop in my mind, the way it slid between notes, like silk or oil. I couldn't unhear it. I returned the next morning, earlier than usual. Nothing. I waited for hours, watching the sea. Just the usual sounds, wind, waves, gulls. Day after day I went back, always listening, always hoping. And then 3 days later it came back. This time it was stronger. It was singing again, and I swear it was closer, like it knew I'd come back, like it had waited for me. I stood up from the bench without realizing and walked toward the water. I can't tell you why. It was like something behind my ribs pulled me forward, like the song was under my skin and it itched. But the moment my feet touched the tide line, it stopped. Gone, like it had never been there. That night I started dreaming about it. The sea turned black, not from night, but from something beneath it, something vast, something aware. I'd wake up with salt in my mouth and my bed sheets damp. Once I found a bit of seaweed wrapped around my wrist like a bracelet. I don't even remember going outside. I stopped seeing people. I stopped answering my phone. What was the point? The only thing I could think about was that voice, that beautiful, wrong voice. I started recording my time on the beach, hours of audio, just hoping to catch even 1 second of it. I bought expensive microphones, reviewed waveforms, listened to white noise for hours. Sometimes I'd convince myself I heard something, a flutter of sound, a ripple in the static, but I could never be sure. Weeks passed. My notebook turned into a messy ledger, sketches of wave patterns, tide charts, moon phases, wind direction. I convinced myself it meant something, that there was a pattern. Then one day, I didn't hear the voice, but I felt it. It was a vibration in the sand beneath my feet, a hum in my bones, a pressure in my skull that pulsed in sync with the sea. And then I saw something. Out in the surf, low tide, nearly sunset, I saw a shape. It wasn't a boat. It wasn't a swimmer. It was pale, almost blue, long-limbed. It moved like seaweed underwater, slow and unnatural, limbs dragging the tide like fingers over silk. It vanished before I could blink. I told myself it was driftwood, a hallucination. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. By now I was going down to the beach at night. There was no moon, just the black stretch of ocean and the whisper of the waves. That's when the voice returned. Clearer, stronger. And this time it spoke. It spoke my name. Whispered, sang it, caressed it in tones no human mouth should form. Elliot. It came from the dark water, just beyond the shallows. I stepped in. I don't remember deciding to. The cold bit into my skin, but I didn't stop. I waited until the water lapped at my ribs. The voice was right there, inches from my ears, and then something touched my leg. Not seaweed, not current. A hand. I ran. I don't even remember getting home, just that I locked the door and stayed in bed for 2 days, hearing that voice in every drainpipe, every breeze, every silence. I told myself I was sick, that I was going mad. But madness doesn't leave bruises. And I had one around my ankle. Like fingers. I should have stopped, but I didn't. I couldn't. I started sleeping on the beach. I told myself I was waiting, that I needed to know, that I'd go into the water next time, just a little further, just to see what it was. I needed to know what was calling me. That obsession, pure and bright and poisonous, burned away all reason. And then last week, just before dawn, I finally saw it. The sea was glass. No wind, no sound. And then it rose. Not from the waves, but beneath them. Pale, eyeless, elongated, wrong. It stood half submerged, limbs too long, arms dragging behind like ropes. Its skin was smooth, almost translucent. I could see dark shapes moving beneath it, like fish, but they were inside its body. Its mouth was a slit that widened, and did not stop. From that horrible gaping wound the voice poured out, sweet, gentle, inhuman. It was the voice, and I understood in that moment what it had done to me. It had been feeding, not on flesh, but on my mind, on my longing, my obsession, my belief. It didn't want my body, it wanted my devotion. And it had it. I ran, but the song followed. Now even miles inland I hear it in my ears, in my blood. My home reeks of salt, my dreams are wet, my skin stays cold. I don't know how much longer I can resist it. Tonight I go back to the beach, not to fight it, to join it.